CBS 13 News is on your side, live at 5.
With the Capitol in conflict over his angry voicemail,
Socialist
and comments called racially charged, an apology from Governor Paul LePage,
It should have never happened, but it did.
and an admission that it might be time for a change.
You know, maybe it is time to move on.
We are live in Augusta with team coverage of what's next for the governor and the state, as once again his so-called tell-it-like-it-is style gets him in trouble. And good evening, everybody. I'm Greg LAGERQUIST, live at Capitol Park in Augusta. Of course, the Capitol in a whirlwind again today, involving controversies and the governor. From comments about drugs and race to a profanity-laced voicemail message, now to an apology from the governor today, and speculation as well, started by the governor himself, that he might resign. We begin with live team coverage tonight, and CBS 13's Marissa Bodner all the way in eastern Maine in Washington County, where she tracked down the governor this afternoon to ask the tough questions. Marissa, let's get right to it. What is the governor telling you about whether he will or will not resign?
Hey there, Greg. The governor tells me rumors of his leaving office are exaggerated. However, it is something he's thinking about moving forward. We did catch up with him today here in Washington County, where he was here to tour a new business that he helped bring to Maine.
I am looking at every option available to my family.
Hours after speculating on the radio whether or not he'll finish his second term, Governor Paul LePage confirms resignation is one of many options he's considering. This comes days after he left a profanity-laced voicemail for a state representative who allegedly called him a racist.
I've always been my own person. I only have to be accountable to God and my family, and that's the most important thing in my life. And if the Maine People's Alliance were not attacking my daughter as badly as they are, I probably would never have considered ever resigning. And it might be that if she can hang through, we're going to fight it through.
Despite the controversy, the governor spent the entire day in Washington County, visiting the new St. Croix Tissue Company at the Woodland Pulp Mill, a business adding 2 machines and 80 jobs to the area. All this going on, but you're still here, business as usual.
Listen, it's about creating jobs. And when you go to the supermarket, please buy Fiora. It's made in Maine.
What are you doing up here today? Now, you just heard the governor mention the Maine People's Alliance as the group he says is harassing and attacking his family members. We did reach out to them for comment this afternoon. A spokesperson says that's not true at all. He says this is just another desperate lie the governor is telling to distract from this latest incident, and their group, for one, is glad to hear he's considering resigning. For now, live in Washington County, Marissa Bodner, CBS 13 News. Back to you.
All right, absolutely, Marissa. We'll continue to follow that. Meantime, that's all began the speculation about whether or not the governor would resign, with the governor's comments himself on his weekly radio show appearance today. Also on that appearance, for the first time, he offered an apology to the person who was the target of that profanity-laced voicemail message. We continue our team coverage live in Westbrook with Brad Rogers with more on that part of the story. Brad.
Well, Greg, today Governor LePage apologized to the Maine people, the Gatine family, and also to his own family. Tomorrow, he sits down face-to-face with Westbrook Democrat Drew Gatine. Now, Gatine says he's not talking until after that meeting tomorrow, but he insists he never called the governor a racist. He says what he did say was that he did call the governor's remarks that Black and Hispanic drug dealers are responsible for the heroin crisis in Maine racially charged.
But this is the first time in my life I couldn't breathe. I was so angry. I literally couldn't breathe.
Governor LePage told a local radio station this morning he lost it when he left a vulgar voicemail for State Representative Drew Gatine.
I would like to talk to you about your comments about my being a racist. And I want to talk to you. I want you to prove that I'm a racist. I've spent my life helping black people, and you little son of a socialist, I need you to, I want you to record this and make it public because I am after you.
We still don't know exactly what a local reporter told the governor last week to make him think Gatine called him a racist. But Gatine says he never called him that. Governor LePage, though, is still saying Gattin called him a racist.
Do I regret calling Gattin? Absolutely. Am I enormously hurt and frustrated by somebody who's calling me a racist after I've tried to get people off the wait list, tried to keep Mainers alive?
Westbrook Democratic State Rep Drew Gattin was out of town today. Friday, he questioned whether the governor is fit to hold office.
It sounded like somebody who was capable of injuring me and violence, and then he made those additional comments to reporters later in the day about, pointing a gun at me between my eyes.
The governor says he wants to meet with Drew Gattin face-to-face to clear the air.
Because I want to look him in the eye and apologize if I have to. But at the same token, I think he owes me a little bit of an apology. So I think meeting face-to-face, we might be able to resolve things. If we can't, we can't.
Governor LePage admits that the voicemail message and the threats he made were a mistake, and he's asking the people of Maine to forgive him. But Greg, the governor is not backing down from his statement that 90% of the heroin traffickers bringing heroin into Maine are either black or Hispanic.
Well, he's certainly been consistent with that message, Brad. Thanks so much. Now, a top Democratic leader is also responding to all of this today. Here's what House Democratic leader Jeff McCabe told CBS 13 this afternoon.
No, the governor needs to address what he continues to say. He needs to address his behavior, and he needs to also address the cause of that behavior. As I said in my interview yesterday or the day before, I'm not in the medical profession, but it's clear the governor needs to seek professional help.
Now, Republicans are also reacting and responding to all of this as well today. They're going to be holding a closed-door caucus here at the Capitol in just about an hour or so from right now. I'm joined now by CBS 13's Katie Sampson. And Katie, so far today, Republicans have been pretty quiet on this today.
They certainly have been, Greg. We've tried speaking to House Republicans today. They said they're not commenting until after this caucus meeting tonight. It's at 6 o'clock in less than an hour at an undisclosed location. And I'm told that out of 69 House Republican members, most of them will be at this meeting. A few of them can't make it for various reasons. Now, their communications director tells me this is a chance to get all House Republicans in the same room to talk about the recent events surrounding Governor LePage and the comments he has made over the last week. I'm told that there will be chances for every single person to speak and talk about their concerns surrounding Governor LePage if they have any questions. And then as a group, they will decide if or what action should be taken against the governor. I'm told that some of these meetings have lasted from 45 minutes to 3 hours, so it's really not clear. But right now, the media availability for after the meeting is scheduled for 8 o'clock. So, of course, that's if the meeting is over at that time. Now, Greg, I also spoke with a communications director about possibly meeting with Democrats about this. He says House Republicans right now have no plans to meet with Democrats, even though that's a meeting that they're asking for. Of course, that could change depending on what is discussed and what is decided at this caucus meeting tonight.
And of course, they're not even in session right now, but this is causing a lot of discussion on both sides of the aisle. We're hearing it, Katie.
It certainly is.
All right, keep following this. Meantime, also happening tonight, in a little more than an hour or so, right here in Capitol Park, is going to be a rally, an anti-LePage rally, we're told, asking the governor to resign or to get help. Now, the Maine Democratic Party chair says they're not actually organizing it, but they are promoting it. They say that they're going to cross the street here behind me at the Capitol, form a circle around the Blaine House. That is expected to start right around 6:30. We'll be carrying that live, in fact, over on Fox 23 News at 6:30. Meantime, now, if the governor chooses not to resign, Democrats, our information is that they've been perusing statutes, the Constitution, to see if there's a way to force him out. Of course, you may recall just this past January, Democrats had a failed vote for impeachment. Now, there is another way. We've been digging into this as well today. There are a couple of ways this could happen. The Maine Supreme Judicial Court can get involved and determine that the governor is, quote, unable to discharge the powers and duties of office. The governor himself can determine he is no longer fit to govern. That seems unlikely. Also, the Secretary of State can call for a hearing to decide if the governor is incapacitated. Again, incapacitated really isn't what it seems like we're talking about here, and it seems like a very high threshold indeed. But it is something, of course, that we'll continue to follow. It's just one more part of this story. Meantime, CBS 13 is asking you, our viewers, to weigh in on this. Pretty simple question here. What do you think? As you watch all of this unfolding, do you think that the governor should or should not resign? We have a poll question up at this moment on our page on Facebook. It's asking this, and on Twitter as well. Following Governor LePage's most recent controversial comments, do you think he should resign? On Facebook, pretty split right now. 54% saying yes, 46% saying no. To Twitter now, a little stronger here. 65% saying yes, 35% saying no. Of course, we'd still love for you to voice your opinion on this one as well. Just head to our page on Facebook. That is facebook.com/WGME13, or follow us on Twitter. That is the handle, I should say, at WGME. Now, of course, all of this began at the governor's latest town hall meeting, which was last week in North Berwick. Just the latest instance where the governor seemed to equate the problems with drugs in our state as a racial issue. And really, the governor's been doubling or even tripling down on this. At a conference involving New England governors yesterday, he said this again.
Meth lab arrests are white. They're mainers. The heroin fentanyl arrests are not white people. They're Hispanic and they're black and they're from Lowell and Lawrence, Massachusetts, Waterbury, Connecticut, the Bronx and Brooklyn.
Now, those comments are not sitting well with the governors of Massachusetts and Connecticut. Here's what they're saying now.
The issue knows no neighborhood. It knows no race. It knows no class. It's as pervasive as anything I've ever seen in my 30 years in healthcare.
More white people are dying of abuse. More white middle-aged people are getting hooked on the drug having to do with knee replacements and hip replacements and dental surgery. And I think it is a great disservice to look at this as a racial issue.
Now, the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts, also weighing in, saying the governor's comments help no one, and, quote, accuse him of being lost on how to fix the state's drug problem. Now, the governor, of course, developing a national reputation at this point, furthered by what we're seeing here again this week as being controversial. We'll continue to look at that. We'll look at, coming up on CBS 13 News Live at 5:30, how the governor has gotten into trouble and seemingly gotten out of it every single time. Can he do it again? We'll take a closer look coming up on CBS 13 News Live at 5:30. In the meantime, live here at Capitol Park in Augusta, I'm Greg LAGERQUIST. Kim, John, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. We'll check with you in the next half hour. Still ahead, Governor LePage's political ally is facing backlash. The controversial tweet from one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters next.
Kind of surreal. It's very intense when you, wake up to that.
Plus, woken up by flames. Fire burns through a Portland apartment. The 911 call made from inside that home. Next.
And the mild temperature is going to hang around at least one more day. We're tracking some showers and thunderstorms as well. We'll look at the timing and when to expect a cool down. Coming up next.